Hello. Hi, welcome to AllDayLive. This is WillPWilson, and you're watching us from Seattle. We're on the AllDayLive TV programs every week, and in a second here, we're going to have the great honor to have a well-known magician, because it takes magic to live in the system anyway. So we're going to get a little bit of insight and maybe get a couple of magical tricks, I hope. So in the second here, in the website behind me, you will be able to pick up information about certain things. This is going to be very interesting, including rights, Buckster's Rights, People Who Entertain, and Seattle. So we've got Professor Gizmo, and we have Magic Mike. And Magic, it's good to see you, Mike. It's really good to see you.
Nice
and Gizmo, it's good to see you too, you guys. And I hope that, Mike, we've got your website in the background, so we're going to cover a lot of stuff here and try to figure some things out as far as how it is to be in the Seattle streets, which you've had a debacle to deal with, right? With that, we'll hear about that. But give us some insight, some magic insight, can you? I mean, I'm looking forward to this, you know. And Magic Mike, I'll put your information up here on the screen real quick. And that's Professor Gizmo. And Mike, that's how it's magicmikeseattle.com, right?
Right.
Yes. You go ahead. Let's get started. Gizmo,
well, I have,
you're invisible.
Things. I have Magic Mike Seattle.
My head's still here. I haven't lost my head.
Yes. Go ahead, Mike, and you tell me what you want me to show on the screen as well.
Well, I have magicmikeseattle.com, and I have funandmagic.com.
Okay.
The first one's a little easier.
Yeah.
But funandmagic.com, I started in 1996. It's had 3.8 million visitors so far.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And I've been doing magic here in Seattle since 1980.
No kidding.
I started doing magic in 1953 when I was 6 years old.
No kidding.
And I've been doing magic every day since then.
Wow. Yeah. Well, look, we've got Invisible Gizmo. You're an invisible reporter, because it says you're a roving reporter, and that's pretty good. That's
he is a well-known head.
Yes, he is a well-known head. You are. That's
Yeah.
kind of like there's the bite of Seattle and the head of Seattle.
Well, I figured since Halloween's coming up and all, you know, start experimenting with some good, scary special effects.
I
Off
like
with his head. Anyways.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike, it's good to see you.
Nice being here, Giz.
So you've done a lot of street performing and street busking and standing up for other performers' rights along with your own.
I had a funny experience my first day performing at Pike Place Market, which was actually in 1976. And as I was trying to get a crowd, one of the drunken hobos was standing there urinating out of his pants. You could see a flow going in and then back, going out and then back into his pants, and a puddle around it. Then he started to kibitz. I said, quiet or I'm going to make you stand in that. But I found other places that I like better than Pike Place Market. The Seattle Center, and basically any good sidewalk. You know, there's always been this misconception that the people that do performing on sidewalks and public property need some kind of a license to do it. But it is a First Amendment right. You do not only do you not need a permit or a license, it's illegal for the city to ask for one when you're performing on public property, because your taxes support that public land. And whenever you have an organization that's getting public tax money to support their public land, they have to respect the laws of the Constitution, and the basic one being the First Amendment, which is the rights of expression. And they too often try to ignore it. And in one famous decision, the Supreme Court said, you can't turn the Constitution on and off to suit your needs when you want to. And First Amendment rights are inalienable rights, which means they can't be given away or inhibited. And one of the basic things that they try and do is inhibit it by having a fee or a permit or sign-up process, which is called prior restraint. And that's a big thing with the judges. They look for that as a flag in First Amendment rights. Prior restraint. It's not allowed.
Yeah, look at the cameras. Yeah, so you've got a lot of good publicity. It doesn't look like you've ever done anything bad, but you've been treated bad quite a bit by different parks or authorities.
Over the last 10 years. The first 10 years, no one said a thing. In fact, the first 13 years. And not only did no one say a thing, but on my front page of my site, you see all these different news stories where they're extolling my virtues as a guy who goes around and performs for the people of Seattle. There's TV stories, 3-minute feature stories. There's newspaper stories. Weekly ran a full-page story. Eugene Register Guard ran a 2-page story. That's when I first started and it hit the scene.
So you're
That was in '78.
quite the magic activist then.
Well, when they started
Now
to try and tell me where I could and could not perform, they didn't do this until they started that in '88 and '89, right? And they started here in 1980. And after appeasing them a bit and moving on when they told me I had to move on,
Who is they?
a policeman
In what area?
at the Waterfront Park, which
Oh, okay.
they tried to say that there was no vending, no asking for money was allowed in the park. And I finally said, now what ordinance are you looking at when you tell me I can't do it? And finally, after a year or more of going with them, I said to the cop, let me see that law. And he showed me the law, and I wrote down the number of the law. And I spent a month in the downtown public law library. You know, every city has a law library as part of the municipal court. And I researched the laws on performing, busking, asking for donations, vending, and all the laws that they were trying to push blowing blue smoke up our butts were laws that addressed vendors. And they tried to just say, you're a vendor. And so you got to deal with these vendor laws. And I finally said to the chief of police, I am not a vendor, and if you keep pushing this on me, I'll take you to federal court.
And so what's been the outcome of your
I took him to
battles?
federal court.
So you still battling them, or did you change any laws, you think, or
Oh, I definitely changed the law.
set a
Throughout the
precedent?
I set a precedent throughout the West Coast. That didn't happen until the 6th lawsuit against the city, one against Issaquah. They settled out of court. The city settled out of court on the first 4, and then in the 5th one, it went before the judge, and they tried to get the judge to throw it out. And the judge said, oh no, he's got some good points here, and this is a valid constitutional thing. And so he said, we're going to go for this. But then the city settled because they didn't want to deal with going for it. Didn't want to actually have it written into the record that they lost that. So they settled for $15,000.
Now, how did you defend yourself? Did you represent yourself, or did you have a public defender or
I had a
private
regular
lawyer?
lawyer. I was lucky enough to finally find, after a number of lawyers said no, or said, well, I'll do it if you give me a down payment on a settlement. One lawyer, a woman who was very brave, Elena Garella, at first she said, I'm not going to do it and I don't have the time to do it. And then when I explained what they had been doing, she says, I got to take this case. They're making me mad with what they're doing. So she took the case, and pro bono, not pro bono, but on contingency of what we would get as a settlement.
Mm-hmm.
And when the smoke cleared, they had owed her about $75,000. They paid me $15,000.
You guys won. That's the main thing.
We won.
Yeah.
But then the
Yeah,
city
yeah, yeah.
decided that they didn't like the fact that we won.
Oh.
And they said, we're going to appeal this in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which they did, and then they won,
Oh.
overturning my judgment. And then a whole bunch of lawyer organizations didn't like that at all. And and the ACLU came in, and a famous rights lawyer from Washington, D.C. came in, the guy that got Bruce, that comic performer.
Anyways.
His last name is Bruce. Lenny Bruce.
Okay.
I think that he got him a posthumous pardon,
All right.
and he hopped in on the case. We reheard the case. It's rare that they will rehear a case.
Yeah.
Only 1 out of 100 people gets them to rehear a case, and they realized that this was such a good, important rights case. They reheard it and said, you know, Mike is right, and you two judges who overturned him before, bad. And they paid me another $15,000, and then they had to pay. So that was $30,000 they paid me, and they had to pay Elena and the man from Washington D.C., Mr. Robert Corn Davis. They had, between the three lawyers, they had to pay out $150,000, and they probably had to pay $150,000 to the city's lawyers, and my $30,000, which means they wasted over $250,000.
Just on lawyers.
And me.
Yeah.
But I only got $30,000, and then.
Well, you should have been a lawyer. You could have made more.
Well, Elena said that I should be, but I'm not going to go through law school, and I'm too compassionate. Lawyers have to be mean and tough. But, you know, they're crying all the time that there's no budget for this and that, yet they wasted $250,000.
So what's been happening now? What are you doing now?
Well, they've been retaliating against me. They don't like that I won that case.
You out causing havoc and still performing? And
I still perform, but at the Bite of Seattle, they drove a forklift at me and unloaded park benches and surrounded me with park benches so people couldn't get at me. And now that retaliation is going to land them in court again.
So this was when, just last year at Folklife?
No, that was 2 years ago
2 years.
at Bite of Seattle.
Oh, Bite of Seattle. Now, isn't that like an event you got to pay to get into anyways? Or
no, that's a free festival.
Free event now, okay. And then, so you're in there, and it's a public park, and you're performing magic, and they're surrounding you with...
Park benches.
To, what, keep the public away, or to lock you in, or both?
Both. They told me they wanted to move out of that area, which was the prime area between the center house and the station.
Will, do you got any shots of that?
Well, we're trying to. We'll see what we come up with.
And so
that's on the
we'll see what we
Performers'
come up
Rights
with.
page.
So they're
There's a video on the Performers' Rights page.
so they're actually able to surround you with them, and then what happened?
I took a video of it, which we have on the website there.
Okay, hopefully we'll be able to pull that up here. And so
On the
the
Performers' Rights segment.
who were driving the forklift? Was it police or security officers or
Some of them were
workers?
the
Or
center's workers, and some of them were the Bite of Seattle workers. I'm not sure, but
were they being directed
of
by
the Bite of Seattle, Al Silverman, who's been a thorn in the side of performers for 15 years? He directed them. He stood right there and directed them in the placement of the.
So he had the authority, and he was doing it, not the police officers or
Him and his gang.
no director of the actual Seattle Center grounds. It was
I don't
just
know
the
the
private
people
henchman of Bite of Seattle or whatever, huh?
I'm not sure of the people involved.
Oh. But were any of them like warning you that they're going to do that before they did that, or?
No, all of a sudden, they told me they wanted to not be where I wanted to be. I said, you can't make me. And about a half hour later, I see a forklift driving towards me, driving right at me. It stopped in front of me, and they unloaded park benches. Then they drove a second forklift at me and unloaded 2 more park benches. So they unloaded park benches on both sides of me and in front of me.
At that point, were you trapped?
Yeah.
So they were kidnapping you or trapping you or something more or less. Hold on a second. forgot to turn off my phone here.
Somebody forgot to.
Yeah, that was me.
Well, in the meantime, we're trying to get that download put together here, but it's seemingly too slow. It says 19 minutes before it uploads or downloads or whatever. So,
The park benches?
yeah, it's a pretty big file apparently.
Oh,
But I'm trying, you guys. So,
Well, why don't you just
know.
take show the photo?
can you just show the photo maybe? that
Yes,
you got
we can
here?
do that. We can do that. Right there.
There it is.
Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Move my head.
center on that or move the head. There's the park benches and the forklift.
Yeah.
And there's my head on
And
the bench.
I'm taking a picture from right in front of it.
That's my head
Okay.
on the bench.
When was this, Mike? When did this happen?
2011.
Okay.
But
So it
in
was only a
Seattle,
couple of years ago.
2011.
They knocked my head clear off.
It's a couple of years. That was only a couple of years ago.
That was
There's a
yeah.
3-year period that you have the right to sue for what they do. You have a 3-year statute of limitations.
Yeah. And you did sue.
We're about to.
Oh, you are. Oh.
We haven't filed the case yet.
Oh. Okay.
I'm
And
trying to put together all the different documents.
you're looking for any legal help or help with your
Oh, yeah,
legal
you know,
fees and
These things cost a lot. The last suit took 8 years total, and it cost me I had all of my inheritance wrapped up in it, about $100,000, and which I had to use to live on during the period of time because it was hard for me to work. I was pretty depressed that we had to go through this again for a 7th time, and I stopped performing. And
but you're performing a little bit now again, aren't you? You're looking for
Yeah.
anybody that maybe might be able to help you out and
well, it
give
would
you a
be really
gig
nice
or
if people would donate to help me in the legal fight. There are PayPal donation buttons on all the pages, especially on the performers' rights page. And also, I have a tie trick which I'm offering people to learn.
oh boy.
Now I'm going to show you in a moment. First, let me do something here, where I basically.
Well, can you do a close up on his hands? He's going to
Yeah.
do some magic.
I sure
here.
will.
I basically gesture magically, gesture hypnotically, okay, and pull this red scarf out of my hand, and then let me put that right back in there. And it's actually still there. But this time, and this is a problem I have, if I pick something up, put something in my left hand, it will often come out like that. And I have to be real careful what I pick up with my left hand, or it will come out my mouth.
Well, you might want to close up again. He's going to do a couple more tricks.
And here's the tie trick that I invented, and I'm selling. I sell the secret of this on my website for $2. So, and this will impress anybody, whether you wear a tie or not. To take a tie and
I still haven't figured out how to tie a tie.
tie it one-handed in a second.
Wow. One-handed.
I can actually do it one-handed and blindfolded, or with my eyes closed.
That's
In
amazing.
fact, this time I'm gonna close my eyes.
Mike, do gunslingers do that too?
They don't wear ties. Polos, maybe.
No, I'm gonna close my eyes and tie 2 ties.
Wow. See that?
In a
2 at
second.
once.
So you're a tie slinger.
Funny thing you should mention gunslingers, because I got to meet the Lone Ranger and do magic for him. And I showed him an invisible deck of cards trick where at the end I make the deck, I do a fast draw, and the deck appears in the air and I grab it. And I said to the Lone Ranger, I'm fast, but I'm not the fastest in the West.
Hey, Mike, is this in the background? What happened? You want me to play it with sound? Does it have sound?
Yeah, that looks like it could be it.
That's what happened in '93, I think.
Let's just watch a little bit of that. I don't know. Or is it? Or do you use the other one downloaded?
Let's play it again here real quick.
Yeah, there's the policeman writing me up, and
That was for balloons or something,
it looks like you're only able. You didn't get the whole file.
huh? Yeah.
Probably, I guess.
So people can go get this tie trick at my website. There's a banner that says "Learn Magic Mike's Tie Trick."
All right. You get so good you can do it 2 at once, huh?
With my eyes closed.
Wow. Or their eyes closed.
Or their eyes.
Yeah.
Hand me the salt.
Well, could you, if you have to, you could do it while someone's wearing their tie too, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now hold a glass.
Okay, well, you might have to pan out a little bit so you
One
can.
glass.
Okay, maybe not. Okay, we got the glass right here.
Okay.
That's
I'm
good.
going to take this magic salt. Put it
Hold
under
on,
my
we
hand.
might want to get a background
Put
where
it
you can
under my
see.
hand. A little lower, please.
Is that magic salt?
Yes, it's magic salt. Where I'm going to make it look like I'm pouring salt in my hand, but I'm not. Okay. Put your hand a little lower. Yes, thank you. Okay, I've been pouring this magic salt in my hand. Or was I?
Wow.
Actually, it is still there. My doctor told me to hold the salt. He said I retain salt.
That's incredible.
Wow. Amazing. You guys see that?
Yeah.
All right. Salt in the glass.
And I have
Out of-
another trick here with. I brought some newspapers. Let's see. This is a Seattle Times paper where it says tunnel digger Bertha
Ta-da.
heading back to work. Here's some redistricting of schools, a map.
Just got
Here's a picture of a plane. Here's an ad for hearing loss. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend to rip this up. Now, I'm only pretending to rip this. I'm not really doing it.
Oh.
I'm pretending to rip up the paper. Got my mic cord here. Pretending to rip up my mic cord.
Well, don't do that.
Okay.
That looks pretty rip torn.
He's a wonderful actor. Rip Torn. What a name.
We got 5 minutes left, so.
What a name. Rip Torn.
Okay.
Okay, so I ripped this up, and now I need the audience out there to say the magic word, abracadabra. And here in the studio,
Abracadabra.
you can say abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
On the count of three.
1,
2,
2. Picture over here, Will.
3.
2, 3. Wow. Amazing.
And here's again the picture of the tunnel.
That was
line.
amazing.
The picture of the redistributing of the school district.
It's all there.
The
How'd you do that?
airplane,
Yeah, how'd you do that? It's amazing.
The airplane.
Jeez. One
And the ad for hearing loss.
amazing. How do you do that? This is just,
Very well.
all right.
Yeah.
Do you have a prescription to the Times?
Well, wait. Is that anything like slinging ties? I mean, it's pretty slinging.
You may
It's slinging
teach.
papers too, newspapers. You can do different types of slinging. Are you from the Old West, Mike?
Will
Are you? You're from the Old West. You got it.
stick to directing and publishing the show.
Yes.
Don't give up your day job, Will.
No, but I like that magic salt. I think that's pretty neat. I've never seen magic salt before. Have you, Professor?
No. I wonder if you could do that with other substances, like gold or silver.
Well, did he throw magic salt on you and we can't see you? Is that-
That's part of, yeah.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. That's pretty good. Don't throw any magic salt at me. We won't be able to see.
At any rate, any performers who are having problems in cities can write me for advice or call me on the phone, and many have. And the main thing is to not be buffaloed by them trying to blow smoke up your butt. What will happen is, first, some do-good person who is hired by some department thinks that they have the right to say to you, do you have a license or do you have a permit? Well, you don't need one. You do not need a license or a permit to perform in public on any public property. And so you just have to say to them, I don't need one, and please leave me alone. And they'll say, well, we're going to call the police, and you've got to say, fine. Call them. And then if the police come, you need to get their names and say, well, sir, I have the right to be here. This is public property. And
2 minutes left.
then you have to pursue that and have them give you an actual ticket to leave. Then you have a case, because you have to have a public official, someone who's hired by the city, tell you you have to leave. Now you have a case, because now you have an officer of the city who has deprived you of your First Amendment rights, and now you have the basis in order to file the case.
So sometimes in order to stand and fight, you do have to get a ticket and,
and
fight the battle.
For a
and
performer to stick up for their rights.
And they might harass you even more once you do.
It's not something that most people are willing to do, is to say to an official or a policeman, I'm sorry, I'm going to defy what you say. I have a right to be here.
Hey, Mike, thank you very much for being on today.
Anytime.
We hope we get some more programs with you, and we can even cover the future case, see how it's going, do some more TV on that. Is that all right?
Yes, people should read the cases that are on the site. All the testimony and the judges' summaries are on that page of the site of Performers' Rights.
Thank you very much. We'll look forward to it. And thanks again. And Professor Gizmo, thank you.
Bye.
And they can get a hold of you at Professor Gizmo at live.com.
Yeah, good luck.
Magic Live.
I'm just a floating head.
That's right.
Help.
Thank you, Mike.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, you did. You turned completely invisible. Oh, Mike. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. One side is Will's and the side is mine.
Oh, really? You had one of Will's ties too. Were you
Studio
pilots for
tie.
this show?
Nope.
No? Oh,
That was, of course, Saturday Night Live having some fun with Colorado's new pot law. Just this week, that state made headlines for granting the world's first recreational marijuana retail license. I shouldn't say the world's first, certainly America's first. Pot shops in Colorado will be opening their doors this January. Washington State will follow their lead, starting sales this spring. The move is leading to a so-called green rush. Business people from very different backgrounds hoping to make a killing off the budding industry. Cecilia Sivertson is a former paralegal. She is the owner of Nana Secret. It's a company that produces Cannabis Infused Soda. Angel Swanson is a real estate agent, also the owner of the Cannabis Foundation. And Molly Poisette is a pastry chef who develops recipes for recreational and medical use. Ladies, it's good to see all of you.
Hi, how are you?
Angel, you've been described as the poster child for anti-cannabis, a mother of 7
Right.
who grew up with a strong bias against illegal drugs. What led to rethinking your position on pot?
Family circumstances. We had, in February, my husband actually asked me of that year that we first opened, if I wanted to open. He thought it would be a gold rush, and I absolutely not. But we had a child, we have one of our daughters who has always had digestive issues, who had scholarshiped into college, and we discovered that she wasn't taking her medication. She was actually eating marijuana-laced cookies to help her appetite. And for the first time I'd ever seen her put on some weight. And I asked her, I said, wow, that medicine you're taking from the doctor is working great. And she gives me the smirk that only, you know, mom would pick up, right? And you know, I'm stopping and I realized that I didn't buy medicine for her from her prescription for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so she owned up, you know, this is what's going on, and I lost it. I mean, I really lost it. And I spent a lot of time researching why this extremely intelligent child should not be doing what she was doing. And frankly, I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any real substantive answers to say to her, don't do this. All I could find was why she should. And so I began the journey of changing my mind.
21 states and the District of Columbia now have laws legalizing marijuana in some shape, form, or fashion. Colorado and Washington State so far
Right.
the only states that have made it legal for recreational use. Molly, again, you've started a pastry business out there. What are some of the other businesses? What are some of the other businesses that are starting to pop up with regards to pot?
Well, in Seattle, there's quite a variety of different businesses that are going to be applying for their license for recreational marijuana. But, you know, Cecilia, for example, is going to be doing sodas and different types of topical creams that will help people with their pain. For me, because I'm recently graduated from Le Cordon Bleu Paris, and I decided, because I had a daughter who survived a stem cell transplant, that I wanted to help people who suffer from immune deficiency disorders and people who are in pain, to help them by being able to create pastries and chocolates that are edibles that will help them through their difficult times.
Has the business community so far there, has it been fairly welcoming?
Yes, I am a new transplant to Seattle. I moved here just about 5 months ago, and people are very welcoming here, and they're very receptive, broad-minded, and understand that cannabis has benefits for people in pain and medicinal benefits. And that's why I believe the three of us are here.
Well, and I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Businesses here, it depends on the businesses you're talking about. Now, some are very open. If it's a cannabis-based industry, we are all very much a very large family.
Yeah.
But those who are not quite in the industry, who are on that edge, we need so much more participation. We need realtors, we need bankers, we need CPAs, we need just a wide variety. I mean, we have staffing issues. We have all the issues that a regular business would have, but we don't have access to a lot of those services.
Cecilia, you know, successful entrepreneurs in this country obviously are the ones that take risk. Is this too big of a risk?
Depends on what kind of risk you want to take. My business, I started out taking customers from my label company. Some of them want their names known, some of them don't. There's ways to work around that. I looked at the customers that I wanted to use to provide my sodas. They were willing to help me out by providing the sodas for me. I'm going to work with other customers in the cannabis industry to put in Nana Secret Soda Shop. And the companies that don't want to be involved in the cannabis industry, they just simply provide me with the products that I need.
It's not really much of a secret, though. It's in the soda, is it?
Nana has a new secret every day, and you just have to wait till tomorrow to find out what those secrets are today.
Oh, that's quite the tease there. Molly, where are we 10 years from now with regards to the cannabis industry, and not just necessarily in Colorado or Washington State?
Well, my hope is, and it is my belief, that nationally it is in our best interest to fully legalize cannabis, and for people that are suffering to be able to use it as a medicine to their own benefit with the assistance of a doctor if they need be, or that people that want to recreate instead of alcohol, if they would like to enjoy marijuana or cannabis, that they should be able to do that. It's certainly a very on many levels, it's very safe, and you do not have the same levels of domestic violence with people who consume marijuana or cannabis as you do with problematic consumption of alcohol. I personally prefer to drink a glass of wine myself, but I encourage people that if that is their form of self-medication, that it is beneficial for them.
Cecilia Sivertson,
that.
Angel Swanson, Molly Poisette. Ladies, keep us posted on your what's probably going to be quite the successful business out there in Colorado.
Thank you.
Well, we're in Washington,
Thank you
but
so much.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, it's All Day Live, and I can see behind me, or you can, I hope you can, that's Nana's Secret Sodas. And that's probably a soda in there behind me somewhere in that door right there. And I think if everybody wants to, they can probably, I'm not the person who knows how to find that except on the internet. And it is Nana's Secret. There's two S's, Nana's Secret.com, just so you know that. And we'll find out what's behind these doors here in just a second, let alone the fact that's how you can get to these doors. That's how I got there. I want to get there too, because I'm really interested in Nana's Secret Sodas. There's something about cannabis, and I'm going to find out here in just a second from the professor that came up with this idea. I think her name is Cecilia, and I think she's got some advising help right now from a person that came up with the Old Toby strain. Oh, by the way, I'm WillPWilson, by the way, you know that. And we're about to hear from Cecilia and Mathew, and Cecilia Sivertson. Cecilia, it's really good to see you. And Mathew, it's good to see you as well. And Cecilia, what's behind my door behind us?
The door's actually not open yet. We'll be opening later, next few days, I hope. Behind it, we'll have 5 different flavors of soda. We'll have some baked medibles, some candies, and some new products coming very soon.
Wow.
We're going to be working with Mathew. He's coming up with some hopefully new strains for our sodas for children with epilepsy, or I should say hopefully children. We're looking forward to inviting some mothers from across the country to bring their children out here to learn about products that we're going to be working on for them. Mathew, talk about that a little bit.
Well, we know that there's non-psychoactive compounds that the cannabis plant produces, such as CBD, that there's no discernible high, there's no munchies, there's no tiredness or grogginess, or there's no intoxication or inebriation. We don't get the paranoid. We don't get effects. We don't get the confusing effects, which would be harmful on a child's developing brain. Just the CBD they need to suppress the peripheral nervous system and disallow the seizure from happening. And so now we're finding there's other compounds created in the cannabis plant that might be more beneficial than CBD for epilepsy, and we know are beneficial for Parkinson's, MS, edema, any inflammation, memory, improved memory, vision, hearing, and anti-cancer chemicals or drugs that the plant's producing. It's very, very exciting. We're starting to separate the chemicals that cause the high and the stoned effects from the medicinally useful chemicals. So that's in a nutshell, the importance of the future of this alternative medicine, this safer, alternative, non-lethal form of alternative medicine.
The product that Mathew brought to me earlier today to try, because I do make my own medicine because I have epilepsy. So I tested it today for myself, and maybe I used a little bit too much because it did make my head not feel quite as well, but compared to the medicine that I have been making, the best thing I could say about it was it had no psychoactive effect, and so far I've had a very good day. I haven't had any tremors that I normally have when I first get up in the morning, and so tomorrow I will try the medicine again with half the dosage, and I'll continue to try Mathew's medicine throughout the next week with different dosages amounts until I get the correct dosage, and then I will continue with his medicine probably up until the event in May, so I have a good line of feedback. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so because one of my dreams has always been Old Toby Soda, because it seems to be a really good delivery system. When I ate cookies before, it took longer to affect me, but with the carbonation, it seems to kick in right away. And also the people with the kidney problems and bladder problems, for some reason, when it's bonded with water soluble, like the glycerin, which is one of the ways that you can infuse cannabis for sodas. It seems to be very, very beneficial at organ rejuvenation. At least the CBN, high CBN phenotype of Old Toby, tongue-tied. But it's really exciting, and to think that the Old Toby strain with the negative side effects bred out could be incorporated into a soda, because there's many different medical. If you are need appetite stimulating substances or stuff to help you sleep, we're all of us in medical cannabis are trying to pin down the chemicals that have individualized effects, and very, very close to many of these. So, and I'm hoping my single trait enhancement will greatly help, because if we can breed a strain that has an individual effect, then we'll be able to reverse engineer it and find out the exact chemicals. Because it's not like, oh, CBCA, now we know what makes you sleep. CBD, now we know what makes you hungry, or THC, now we know what makes you confused, or something. It's really not that simple. That's like saying your brain works by serotonin only or something. There's hundreds of chemicals in the brain, and there's 100 chemicals in the cannabis that react to your body's physiology. And so, but if we can get a map of this chemical key, that this chemical factory that we call cannabis is producing, by creating a strain that is 100% more hungry effect with the other effects bred out, and 100% more, maybe more confused and more paranoid effect strains, and going about this through standardized F1 to F7 hybridization, which all the cannabis strains to date have been created in this way. It's a very, very slow process, and if you breed for a trait, a different trait, it's throwing you off. Like, let's say the paranoid effect has to do with potency, or the confusing effect is connected with the yield of the plant. So maybe there's a big giant yield plant, but it makes you really confused. And so every time you breed for yield or potency, you're breeding to make it more paranoid or confused. You're breeding in these negative side effects inadvertently, because we don't know the genetic trait groups that are connected to the medical effectiveness of the plant yet. I'm the first one to I'm the first one to even identify these as hungry, tired, confused, paranoid, and anti-inflammatory, antidepressant. So anyway, it's kind of exciting to have a soda pop that you can drink that's effective for MS, Parkinson's, edema, lupus. We're hoping, for me, what's the most exciting part? A soda pop that's available to a lot of patients. That way, nobody runs out. You can always get it, and that epilepsy. That's the next hurdle. I want a better treatment for epilepsy. I think there has to be something better than CBD, and something that and mainly we don't want people getting stoned. We don't want them intoxicated. We don't want them inebriated. Especially like children, or those parts of the brain need to be developed properly. They don't need to develop their brains being paranoid or confused. They need to be very clear-headed and completely straight. In fact, it'd be nice to give them an edge.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Increase oxygen to the brain and blood flow,
all
right?
All day long, my head has been totally clear. I haven't had any psychoactive effect, and I just feel good. I have had no nausea. I've had no tremors, no shaky. The normal issues that I have with my epilepsy have been totally gone all day long. So I feel really good about
It's just it gives me goosebumps. It really does, because I mean,
I've been looking for a strain that I can feel comfortable knowing that if I have this strain to work with for my sodas, that this is a possibility of a product for children. So
absolutely,
I'm excited about working with this.
And we can stay within the federal guidelines. If they say 0.03 THC per whatever per container, whatever, then we with Old Toby, I think it's still going to be effective. There's still chemical composition in there that's medically effective at that level, and we don't know yet. But that's what I'm hoping for. It's pretty exciting. Let me put it this way: if you see Old Toby, Nana's sodas, right? Nana's Secret sodas. If you see Nana's Secret Old Toby, that means it's working. That the patient trials are coming back. It's if you don't see it, then
you know we tried.
Yeah, it just didn't pass our personal research study this time, but we're still working. Yeah, because I believe it's within our grasp to create these individual medically useful strains with no side effects whatsoever, which is the same. And even if we can just get close genetically, then we can do the rest with extracting and infusions. And that's really the future right there. I mean,
I've been using cannabis in my soda myself for over almost a year now, and I know that I'm getting great results myself, so I feel certain that it's going to be a good product.
I've had, before I had Old Toby, I used the normal strains of cannabis that were available to me from the medical community, and my cirrhosis of the liver is gone. I got a fatty liver. I had 79% scar tissue, 3 years to live 10 years ago, and I'm completely healed from regular there was no Old Toby, just regular cannabis. So now that we've got cannabis with these negative side effects bred out, that with the medical effectiveness enhanced, it's just exciting. It's almost too hard to believe. It's almost too good to believe, really, for us people in cannabis. But anyway, sorry.
Can I insert real quick, Cecilia? This is Will. I wanted to ask you real quick. Cannabis is in the drink, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's about the only one in North America. Am I right at this time? There really isn't anybody else.
There are a couple of other companies. I'm not the only one, but the other ones are. I'm the only carbonated soda.
Wow. Wow. And we're looking at Old Toby. Is that a secret? Being in it.
That's what I'm hoping, because that's a dream of mine, is to have Old Toby soda. And like, I had a good example, good analogy. I had an album, a CD, a jazz CD. It's pretty good. You know, there's no vocals for what it is. I mean, it's a good CD, but 3 people have heard it, and no one's going to hear it. If it was shoved down 100, 200 million people's throats on the radio every single day, maybe 500,000 people would buy it, or 100,000 or something, right? But it has to be promoted, and that's not my job. I don't know even how to begin promoting a CD. I don't know how to make soda pop. I don't know how to have a soda company or a dispensary or anything, but I do have a strain that's very, very medically effective at very, very low doses, where the THC, we could even, I don't know, maybe if we have to, extract some THC and make it really, you know, a child or a...
That was going to be my other question to you is, how do you make your tincture?
180 degrees.
How do you extract your, how do you do your extraction?
With the glycerin.
The oil from your plant.
From the glycerin, whole bud, whole plant.
But do you
180
have an
degrees.
extraction machine?
No, pots. I stir it, and then when it gets 180, almost to 200 degrees, I'll turn it off and let it cool, and then turn it back on and stir it for 72 hours, 180 degrees.
Material?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Whole plant material.
You just cook it on the stove?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. With the Toby, the other stuff, people do keef, and they'll do infusions or whatever. Glycerin's really not the most effective. People are like, oh, you still do that. Coconut's better, and grapeseed oil's better, and Simpson oil is really, really good. That's the ethanol extraction.
So you can just cook the plant material with glycerin? everybody's
Yeah.
like, oh, you should do like CO2 extraction, or you should do ethanol extraction.
That changes it. It depends. Now, do you have a plant, a strain that you specifically bred so that for medical effectiveness, so that when you extract it through CO2 specifically, now you've got, just makes you hungry, or you know what I'm saying? If you are and right now I'm working on versions of strains specifically for extraction. But right now it's too. You could have a strain that has a certain effect and extract it. Now it's changed. Every time it's going to change it. And so if you're doing that on purpose for specific medical effect, yes, by all means. But just to indiscriminately whatever, I mean, I've found, okay, I'm the only one that's having people with kidney disease and kidney failure. Their kidneys are being restored, and pancreas and liver pretty rapidly. They're getting off, with 7% restoration with one patient. I can't really name names. It sounds like a bunch of BS when you start talking about other people's patient trials. But I personally know that their organs are rejuvenating. So when they had just the glands or dabs and stuff like that, I mean, nobody else in cannabis is having the success. It's something in the whole plant, especially with the Toby, for sure. I mean, you could actually extract you could probably, I'll go so far as to say it'll screw it up, but a good way, you could almost make CO2 extraction with the Toby, set that aside, and then take what's left over and make your glycerin with it, and it's going to be helping seizures and really good treatment for Parkinson's and inflammation and MS and everything. Maybe we should do that and just reinfuse a little bit of THC, just enough to make it medically effective, but or a little bit of that oil back into it, But yeah, absolutely. Until we know, if you know what you're doing, yes. But people, the reason they say that is because they know that if you're doing a good oil extraction on it first, then you're measuring out a measured amount. Now we know it's 75 milligrams per 12 ounces of THC or something. That's what they want. They want, because so many people, you can take it's $45 a pound or something for leaf, and you can just wash it and sell cannabis tea or something that's and it's literally like what's left over from bubble hash or something. And people try it, and it's medically useful and gets them high, and they're not mad that they spent $5 on it. It didn't taste bad. But it's kind of, everyone's doing that. They're just washing leaves or whatever. But if you take oil and infuse it, then you got 100 milligram of medicine or your gummy bear, whatever sodas or anything. That's pretty much why they said that, because it gets rid of the rip-offs. But Toby's different. I mean, it's a very, very limited amount of this plant with it's totally different. I've given everyone free samples. There's tons of patients that have tried it. Best medible ever. And I've had tests come back to as little as 0.1 THC per, I don't know what it even was, but it was very weak, and everyone said best ever. So there's something else happening. There's the entourage helper chemicals that the plant is producing in the Toby. It's beyond anything that you'd actually get out in I've made butane honey oil out of Toby, and it didn't help my memory at all. It didn't.
Gives me a headache.
Yeah, it wasn't medically effective. I've actually rolled joints of the leaf that was left over from the BHO extract, and about 2/3 of the way through, my memory was back. But the BHO, I'd smoke about 7 hits, and I felt like a really good clear-headed sativa high. It was, but I mean, 7 hits of dabs. I mean, yeah,
That's
you'd think,
a lot.
yeah, and it came back really super high THC. But there was literally, in fact, you know what? I'm going to go, maybe that is medically beneficial. You know what I mean? It took a lot for me to get high off it, but I don't know. It didn't really help my memory either. I don't know. There's a lot more questions than answers. This is kind of, that's it. I'm just excited. I want to get it in a soda.
Hey, Mathew, I was going to ask you this as well, real quick. If we're looking at this being the first kind of Old Toby, and it's going to be interesting because you're looking at it being a medical strain too, right? Eventually, sort of. I mean, something like that's going to prevail. It'll be more than just a soda,
I
Right.
can see Matthew working with Nana's not only in the sodas, but as a consultant throughout the Nana business, because Nana just doesn't have the knowledge that Matthew has, and it's something that I'm going to need throughout my business.
Okay, really good. So it's going to get into a diversity of things. And then Matthew, as
And
you
if
have,
that's what he wants to do.
Well, yeah.
Like you're going to be kind of
No,
busy, though.
absolute. Well, no, I don't see a problem with that at all. Because it sounds. See, I'm on a path to get medication to patients, and you're on the same path.
Yeah.
So there's no friction, there's no conflict whatsoever. We just keep doing what you're doing every day, and I keep doing what I do every day, and all of a sudden, patients are going to have really good medication, a safer treatment for a more effective treatment. That's what we're really looking for: a more effective anti-inflammatory, more effective sleep aid, more effective for antidepressant, edema, MS, arthritis, Parkinson's, hopefully epilepsy.
Yeah, because I can't.
Don't know yet.
I can do what I'm doing without you, but I can do what I'm doing better with you. And kind of the same thing for you.
Yeah, I could bottle sodas in my house. I could go to the brew place and get
could.
cases of sodas and crank those
Yep.
caps on and sanitize stuff and Old
Yep.
Toby snake oil soda or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
could.
not I'm too busy to do that. I'm
Yep.
way too busy to do that.
Yep.
No. So yeah, that'd be great if we can hopefully get together on this.
Yep. It's just a process.
Everything has to be legal. Everything has to be legit. That way
Yep.
everyone's happy and there's no harm done. I don't know.
We have people
Nervous.
We have people who do that stuff for us. And we'll just do what we do.
Yeah, I'm creating medical strains.
You want to see what I do?
I'm a crazy
See what
person.
I'm doing right now?
You're Nana. Nana's secret spokesperson.
I was going to mention real quick, we've got about 3.5 minutes left. Cecilia and Matthew, how would somebody get a hold of the company and they want to sell it somewhere?
Nana's Secret sodas are currently being sold in dispensaries throughout Seattle. And if you are interested in finding any of those dispensaries, you can email me at cecilia@nanasecret.com, or you can give me a call. My phone number's on the screen.
Right. 2425773 843.